Day 8 of the Wimbledon 2018 Championships. A queen revisits her court, centre court that is, and a knight pays a visit to the BBC studios. This is the daily recap of Wimbledon 2018. Stay tuned to find out more. Hey, hello everyone, Anne-Marie Batson here bringing you a daily recap of Wimbledon 2018. It is already day 8 and that means it's ladies quarter-finals day, and there were some absolute crackers taking place on centre court and number 1 court down in Southwest 19. Let's start with my match of the quarterfinals for sure. Angelique Kerber, who is the 11th seed, the highest ranking seed left in the competition, versus Daria Kasatkina from Russia. She is the 14th seed, and the final score ended up being 6-3, 7-5 to the German. But my word, it was a match that looked like it could have been the final, and it's a bit of a shame that it wasn't the final actually, because it was probably the match of the tournament for me. Now that my favourite, which is Petra Kvitova, has gone out of the tournament, I fully expect Angelique Kerber to make the final, because the way she's playing at the moment, she is such a strong counter-puncher. And Kasatkina was mixing up her shots, the variety, the angles that she was getting across the net. Fascinating stuff. And I think if you were on centre court watching that match, you had a real treat. But it is the German that goes through, and she will be playing, as I quickly look at my notes. Who will she be playing in the semi-finals? I'm trying to look at my notes, trying to work out who she's going to be playing. She'll play Jelena Ostapenko, which was the match happening at the same time on court number 1. Ostapenko, who's the French Open champion from last year, she was playing Dominik Sibylkova. It went the Latvians' way, ending up being 7-5, 6-4. Another match that trading blows backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. But it was Ostapenko that will be the one that faces Angelique Kerber in the semi-finals on Thursday. Of course, let's not forget there were 2 other quarter-finals that were happening. So straight after the Kerber-Kasatkina match, the Queen herself regaled her court and she returned. And it was lovely to see her actually, and man, she looked fired up. So I'm talking about, of course, Serena Williams, who's the 25th seed in the tournament, taking on the very petite Camila from Italia. But I say she's petite, but my God, she knows how to hit that ball hard. And it was fascinating to watch sometimes when Camila hit the ball and literally just blew Serena off the court. So much so that Serena actually dropped her serve. She dropped the first set with Georgie taking it 3-6. But I knew watching the match as it progressed, as it went into the second set, I knew Serena would just up her level. And what got her out of trouble was her serve. She'd ended up serving, in one game, like literally 15 love, 30 love, 40 love, bosh, done. Camilla would come back, do her game. Serena would do hers. But Serena definitely ups her level, and her intensity just went up and up and up. And you could hear her going, come on, and fist pumping and glaring at Georgie. Not in a nasty way, but the intensity on her face a couple of times across the net. So Serena is through. She's now probably the firm favourite to lift the title on Saturday. Who will she be meeting? She will meet the German Julia Gerges, who took on her very good friend Kiki Bertens. Kiki Bertens is very much a clay court specialist, but has done fantastically well at the tournament. The 2 of these ladies are such good friends. They have dinner with each other most nights. I suspect they wouldn't have had dinner with each other yesterday, but it is Julia Gerges who will go through to the semi-final. And when the match was called as over and the winner was Gerges, the look on her face, she literally just dropped the racket and just went like this, as if she couldn't believe it. She just won the third set 6-1. Amazing stuff from her, and I pray that the 2 of them, once things have calmed down, that they still will remain firm friends, and I suspect that will be the case. There's a lot of discussion at the moment about if there is strength and depth in the Women's Tennis Association, the WTA it is commonly known as. After witnessing those 4 quarterfinals, there's nothing to worry about, honestly. The fact that you've got 123 Grand Slam title winner playing who else is there? You've got a 2-time Grand Slam winner, a 1-time Grand Slam winner, and a top 20 winner. All this talk about, oh, it's not going to be great now because all the top 10s have all gone, all the top 10 seeds have left the championships. I think the fact that you've got those 4 women in the semi-finals show that the WTA have got absolutely nothing to worry about. Let's not, we've got the men's quarterfinals also coming up, and there was a big discussion on social media about who was going to play where, because you have Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic, number 1 players, Grand Slam winners, all playing quarterfinals, and the All England club would have to make the very difficult decision about which out of those 3 is going to play on court 1. And I think what a big factor was is that Novak Djokovic has not played on centre court since the beginning of the tournament, whereas Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer have. And so it's been decided that Roger Federer's match will be played on court number 1, which begins at 1 o'clock. He faces the South African Kevin Anderson, who's having a cracker of a tournament. Federer leads their head-to-head, so I strongly suspect Federer will be the winner of that match. Novak Djokovic will finally appear on centre court, and for me this is the match of the quarterfinals. He will play Kei Nishikori from Japan, 2 players who have had injury timeouts from the tour, playing each other on centre court for a semi-final place. I think that will go to 5 sets. I think there'll be long rallies as well. They both play quite similar. They both return the ball extremely well. They both know how to defend. It's going to be a fascinating match. And if Djokovic gets through this one, which I suspect he will face Nadal. And if he can get past Nadal, he may face Federer in the final. And he's my dark horse, by the way, for the tournament. Speaking about the Spaniard Nadal, he's going to be facing a fellow countryman, or can I say that? An Argentinian, Juan Martín del Potro. Del Potro finally got his match over the line playing Gilles Simon from France. It was a resumption of their 4th round match because it was stopped due to bad light. But Del Potro was the one that came through. He faces Nadal. A slight disadvantage though for the Argentine because he doesn't get a rest day, unlike his competitor. But Del Potro is a warrior, and I think that is such a good match to put on centre court. So if you've got centre court tickets, you lucky people, because you're in for a lot of joy and a lot of amazing rallies and shots at those 2 particular matches. As for court number 1, I've already mentioned that Roger Federer will play Kevin Anderson on court number 1 from 1 o'clock, followed by a match that's going to be probably lots of tie breaks and serves going in at 120, 130 miles per hour. I'm talking about Milos Raonic versus John Isner, Canada versus America. Let's see how that one goes. Andy Murray, or should I say Sir Andy Murray, made an appearance today at the BBC studios, and it was a real delight to see him. I have to say, he looked relaxed. He looked very refreshed. And when he was asked about the WTA players that he's been enjoying watching and gave an analysis of these players, my God, it was like listening to a professor of tennis. And I tell you something, Andy, if you fancy a career in punditry, when those playing days are over, snap it up, because I think you'd be fantastic. And I think that's why you're so well loved on the WTA tour, because you know so much about the women's game. He talked about Kerber, he talked about Ostapenko as well, he talked about Serena. He was able to talk about their matches in such fine detail. It was a real breath of fresh air. And of course he was asked about the men's side as well. He talked very eloquently about his compatriot Novak Djokovic, about Djokovic's reaction, how he roared at the crowd when he was playing Carl Edmund, and that's just Djokovic. And Murray was saying that he believes that Djokovic is back, that animal that comes out of him, that intensity, that aggressiveness when he plays has definitely come back, and you can see that on the court. So Andy was in the BBC studio. He will also be commentating on the match. I understand he'll be commentating on the Rafa Nadal Del Potro match, which will be a fascinating matchup, as I've already mentioned before. So it'd be good to hear Andy's thoughts on that game. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you find these daily updates of Wimbledon 2018 helpful, useful, stories that you might have missed. If you like what you hear and you like what you see, please hit the like button underneath. As ever, leave a comment or suggestion. Enjoy your time at Wimbledon if you're going to be there. As I've said before, we are now getting to the finite end of the tournament. Who is your pick for the women's title, and who is your pick for the men's title? Take care. See you soon.